All right, here we go. This is Coaching Tuesday. I like to say sometimes tea time, which I don't have my tea. As you can see, it is a little bit after 2, but I have something to share with you. Okay. We have been talking about living a purposeful life. So, as you're walking out your calling, your destiny, your assignment, your purpose, as you're walking those things out, I've been coming out here and giving you some tips on how to do that most effectively and most intentionally. And so today we're going to be talking about application. Application, you might say, why application? I know that I have to apply something. Yeah, but what are you applying? Because sometimes as you are um, identifying, clarifying, and then walking in purpose, you have to make sure that the things that you must be applying to either yourself or that thing that it is that you are walking in, however you are serving others, that you are applying only the things that you need that's going to be beneficial, right? Not everything that you feel like is beneficial is going to be for whatever it is that you are supposed to be intentionally doing. And so we must be aware and always thinking through, because you don't want to be wasting time. Basically, I always feel like, time is not of I mean, time is not on our side, right? We are aging, we are getting older, and eventually we are expiring. And so eventually we will leave here. And so, not to be morbid or anything, but that is just strictly a fact. And so while we're here, we've got to make sure that we are utilizing every single second towards a beneficial outcome or a beneficial end, right? And that hopefully for you, I know for me and those of us who understand this, um is that beneficial end is to accomplish the goal that I've been placed on this earth to accomplish. And so if you have clarified that, if you have identified that, if you've discovered that, then this is what is going to continue to help you walk in that thing, this application, this talk that we'll have today. Because sometimes you will have life can bring disturbances, right? Disruptions. And so you have to have a structured or standard of how you do things so that if you're thrown off track, it does not necessarily mean that you're going to be out of whack or out of alignment forever. It just means that you have to regroup, like I like to use the analogy of when I'm traveling. My husband and I, we travel a lot and we like to drive a lot. Some places we have to, of course, fly to, but most places we can drive to. And so finding an exit to get off is sometimes quite challenging depending on the area that we are traveling to. Sometimes exits are there, but they are only to get you off of the highway, but not necessarily to the things that you need or want at that time. Like there are some exits that you get off, and there is absolutely nothing. You turn left or you turn right, and that is it. And it's countryside from there on out. But then there are those exits that you actually are looking for, like for a restroom break or a food break, or you need to find maybe a Starbucks or whatever the case may be. You are intentional about whatever needs you have, so that exit is going to make a big difference. And so what I'm saying is that it's going to be important for you to not just get off on any exit, right? Because again, some of them, they take you to nowhere faster or slower, I should say, because it seems like you get off on some of those exits and there's nothing there and it's countryside and it takes forever to get a mile in. But anyway, I digress. The point is I'm trying to make is that When you are walking in purpose, when you are walking in your assignment, there are going to be times where there will be disruptions or distractions. And you have to make sure that you have a standard of thinking or thought process in place already, so that you know that, okay, what am I taking from this to apply to where I am? What do I need? I'll take that. Whatever is not going to service you in that season, leave it alone. And so I feel like a lot of times we waste a lot of time when trying to determine what the needs are in a season, and sometimes we take everything that's thrown into the basket as a potential need, but not everything is beneficial. And so we're going to be talking about application. So it's going to be important for you as you are learning about those things that are necessary in your life, those things that are necessary to walk in purpose intentionally. What are those things that I must apply to this particular season of my life, and how does that application work? So that's what we'll be talking about. Is we'll be talking about the things that you place in your toolbox. All of them are not necessary in a particular season, but some of them are going to be beneficial, right? Ecclesiastes, King Solomon talks about those things that are beneficial, those things that are in season, those things that we need to pay attention to, those things that are going to be more important. And Myron Golden says sometimes too, is that what you put intention to, your attention will be there as well. So we want to be intentional and put attention to these things. And there are three things that I want to let you know about. So the first, in terms of application is very important to bring forth your purpose in such a way that as you move forward in your purpose, others will glean knowledge and wisdom from you to help them move forward. Remember, your purpose is absolutely to serve others. If your purpose, what your purpose should be for, I should say that, to understand what purpose is all about, they should do two things. It should be pleasing to God and should serve others. If your purpose is not either one of those things, then I'd say go back to the drawing board. It's probably not your purpose. It may just be an interest or a hobby. But in order to completely walk out your purpose intently, you're going to have to make sure that you do these three things, and not just once, but you're doing these three things on a regular basis. On a regular basis. Okay. All righty. So, number one is create. You've imagined and dreamed. Now it's time to create. It's time to put those things on paper. It's time to write those things down so that you can then move in them in such a way that is going to be beneficial for the people that you serve, right? So we are creative beings. We have been given that portion of the God likeness. It is in us, is that creativity. And so you want to spend time at creating the things that are going to be beneficial for you to intently walk in your purpose. Um Many studies have been done to tell us how to formulate a habit, how long it takes to formulate habits. I've read some studies that says it takes 21 days. I've read some that says take 30 days of doing something consistently, and then it becomes a habit. So we do know for sure it takes repetition of doing something for a substantial amount of time, creating mind habits and parts of our thought process. It's like, sometimes I attribute it to an athlete. When you are an athlete and you are training your body to move in a certain way so that you are productive in your sport, whatever that is. I can only speak to probably things like track, football, and volleyball, because those are the sports that my children participated in. But you have to do certain drills and conditioning that is going to create what we call muscle memory. And as you do these things that create muscle memory, when you are in the competition setting, you have trained your body already to automatically go to that place that it needs to go to so that you can perform. And so, the same thing with learning how to create. You've got to do it repetitively, consistently, so that you are constantly putting yourself in a space to where you are allowing yourself to imagine, you are allowing yourself to dream, you are allowing yourself to look outside of that regular box that you may keep yourself in. You have to allow, your brain is a muscle. And so if you train your brain to imagine, to dream, to think about, things, how you can walk out life and walk out your career and walk out those things that you desire to do, you've got to think these things through, constantly be thinking them through, and then writing them down, right? Sometimes when we talk about creativity, most people think of the arts, being artsy. Creativity means that you are putting your brain to action, you are imagining, you are dreaming, and you are thinking those things through in such a way that you begin to get the learning that you need, you begin to find out how to progress and move forward in those things that you've imagined. We, as when we were children, we would use that imagination so very easily. I mean, our brains will automatically go to that imagination. That's how come if you remember when you were a child, you remember I used to dream about being a teacher or a football player or, a wife or, have a mother. We allowed our minds to dream about the possibilities of what could be. And so, in creating, that's exactly what you are doing. You are allowing your mind to think on those things, those possibilities. And so, you have to do that when walking in purpose, because you want to remain fluid in that purposeful thing that you're doing, right? You want to remain flowing, I like to call, in that thing. And so, often, it's going to be very important for you to allow time for you to just sit and dream and create and let your mind just wander and do the thing that it used to do when you were a child, when you are a young adult, when you were a teenager. You would allow your mind to dream until we then allowed society to brainwash us that creativity and imagination was not good for money flow. So go back to that childlike mentality and allow yourself to dream and to imagine those things that could be possibilities in your life. So create content, create whatever it is that you feel is a part of your purpose, is going to be beneficial to serve others. Go ahead and allow yourself to dream and imagine and create. Listen to Myron Golden. He would say that would be the highest form of living, basically, is that imagination, that creativity. The highest form of earning wealth is going to be operating in that space of imagination and creativity. So go ahead and allow yourself time to create. You've got to allow yourself time, for me as a coach, many other things can get in the way of me creating, which is what I love to do, creating, writing a book or writing a tutorial or creating a mastermind for coaches. Those are things that I really like to do, creating a training module for homeless mothers. Those are the things that I really love spending time on doing. But sometimes the other things, the administrative things, the social media, the videos, all of those things, can get in the way. And so you have to really pinpoint time in your schedule to allow you to imagine and create. Okay. So that's number one. The next one is communicate. No one's going to know what it is that you are called to do if you don't let them know what it is. You've got to make sure that there are opportunities that you are allowing yourself the freedom to speak out to others what it is you feel that you are purposed in doing. So let me just say this. God imagined, he created, and then he spoke. So that's application in itself too, right? But that communication is that speaking. So you've got to use your voice. You've got to use your, what's going on with my glasses? You've got to use your voice. You've got to communicate. If you are not used to speaking out, you will have to commit to being uncomfortable. You're going to have to commit to being uncomfortable with starting a conversation with someone, maybe someone in your family, maybe someone that you just meet in a restaurant. But you have to get past the uncomfortability of being able to communicate what it is you are called to do or who you are as a child of God. I was reading this morning in actually in Matthew, the 10th chapter, where Jesus talks about it talks about acknowledging Christ. And it says, therefore, and this is a little bit, I know this is not Bible study, y'all, but I was reading it and it coincides with what I'm talking about. Therefore, everyone who will acknowledge me before others, I will also acknowledge him before my Father in heaven. So you've got to acknowledge, you've got to speak those things out. You've got to speak those things out of your mouth so that, and getting out of that uncomfortability and uncomfortable space, getting out of that space where you feel like, well, I don't want to, toot my own horn, or I don't want to seem, like it's all about me, because just because you're talking about what it is you do, no, that's the only way that people are going to know what you do. And if it's to serve others, then you've got to let people know what it is you are doing. So we talked about writing things down. Do this so you can become familiar with what it is you are doing and practice saying it over and over and over until it becomes second nature, until it becomes, you may not even believe it yourself, but keep saying it until it becomes believable. Because if you're saying it now, right, but you don't believe it yourself, then that's exactly how it's going to come across to others. And so it's going to be very hard to have others believe you, for others to believe in you. My glasses, y'all, they driving me nuts. So forgive me. Anyway, so communicate what it is you are doing, what it is you're longing to do. And the other good thing about getting out of that space of not wanting to use your voice is that when others hear what it is you long to do, or that you're passionate about doing, or that thing that you really care about, they may have a resource or a tool or something that could benefit you. They may have something, or they may know someone that could benefit from what you can give. And so keeping it to yourself is not helping anyone. It's not even helping yourself. So you've got to get out of that place of being uncomfortable about speaking out, because it's going to be necessary for others to know who you are, for others to get to know you. It just is. When you're out and about in the marketplace, on your job, wherever you are, be comfortable, get comfortable in using your voice and speaking that thing that it is you're most passionate about, that thing that you are walking in, that thing that you flow in. Get used to doing that, because it can present some great opportunities for you. But for the most part, it can bring the ones that need what you have to you because they know what you do, because you've communicated it, because they've heard about you, they've heard about the thing that you do. So, Joe, just get out of that space of feeling uncomfortable to communicate. Use your voice. We have it for a reason. And then number three, practice. Remember, I was talking about an athlete training in your event or whatever the sport is that you're doing, is that you've got to do it consistently, right? You've got to do it consistently so that that muscle memory occurs, so that your muscles remember every step, every move, every, it remembers that. And you have to use less of the focus on your brain in terms of what it is that you do, but more so your body is going to automatically do what it's supposed to do. And so in order for that to occur, practice. It takes practice, practice, practice. How do you begin practicing your plan? You take a step, then you take another. You take one step at a time, move towards your purpose. Moving towards is just being successful in what you get to do every day. What my mom says is that you have to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. And so that just is going to take repetition, it's going to take practice, it's going to take you being intentional about the things that you are doing every day. Those things that are beneficial, right? Remember, they must be beneficial and they must be serving you in the season that you're in so that it can bring about a success. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Application is important when walking in purpose. And you've got to be doing these three things in order for that application to apply. You've got to create, you've got to communicate, and then you've got to practice. Those are the top three things that you must do in order to be intentionally walking in your purpose and walking it out in such a way that you are making a difference, not just for you, but for the individuals that you're serving. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this session of coaching today. If you have any questions, please drop them below. Go ahead and like and subscribe on this YouTube channel. I have this live every Tuesday, and I want to provide you with as much information as possible that can potentially help you to walk intentionally in your purpose. All right. Peace. Go with God.